we're going to have a Q&A, and I want to appeal to everybody here. Make your question short and to the point, all right? If you have a question, just put up your hand, and my colleagues, Gerald, will come to you with the mic. So please introduce yourself very briefly, your name, and if you are with an organization or whatever, let us know, and then go ahead with your question.
Okay, hi, my name is Brad Bowyer. I'm hopefully going to be with People's Voice if we ever get it registered. I have a question on the HDB, Alfred, because you were studying it. 2002, my father-in-law's HDB was bought under SIRS. Rather than redevelop it, it left the ground empty for 5 years, and then over the last 10 years, they've built 5 private condos there, which are obviously largely being sold to foreigners rather than Singaporeans. Do you know what percentage of SIRS have gone under that route, or have they actually repurposed any of them for Singaporeans? Have they all been turned into private properties? Thank you.
All right, that's a question for Alfred.
Unfortunately, that is one of the many hidden data mysteries that we in Singapore don't have such data.
No access to.
Sorry about it.
The next question here. This gentleman.
Hi, my name is Alfred also, Alfred Hong. I got a question for Mr. Darman. He mentions a lot of cost-cutting initiatives by SDP, cut GST 7% to 3%, no GST for essential items, lower cost of living and all that. One point that actually the IB raised about this initiative from SDP is that how are you going to fund for it? Are you going to use up all of the reserves? Now, my suggestion is that you give concrete figures to all these initiatives so that at least people will have an understanding of, okay, how much it's going to cost. And then we all know that the reserves should be enough to cover this, but without a concrete figure, they just throw a lot of smoke and confuse the matter. So that's my suggestion. The other matter I'm going to address, the elephant in the room. We know about PH Victory in Malaysia. We know that Mr. Tan Cheng Bock has met with Dr. Chi and a lot of opposition members. So I was very excited about that. But since then, there's been like no news what's going on after that. So maybe you can clear that issue.
Thank you, Alfred, for the question. Yes, I agree with you, and that is what SDP is doing. We are reviewing our policies leading up to the next election, and we are looking into the data and the numbers again. And as soon as we have those revised information, I'm sure we will release it. It is actually in our schedule where we will have launches of our policies from education, health, and so on and so forth. So yes, that is what you highlighted is very true. That is what the IP always does, right? They will whack us and ask us for figures. And in fact, we have those figures, but those figures are what we put up based on the previous policy papers that we have. And thank you very much for that. With regards to Tan Cheng Bock, maybe somebody else want to answer.
Allow me to add a little bit to that also. Actually, when you have hard absolute figure, that may not be the best or the ideal way to go, because hard figures always change depending on the GDP, revenue, whatever. So if we go by percentage, that would be a lot more consistent. So even if your numbers change, the percentage shouldn't change or shouldn't change very much. So, if you pack the minister's salary, for example, to the by percentage to the lower stratus of our wage earners, right? Then that will motivate the ministers to work hard to make sure that all our salary rise, and not just the top echelon. If the top echelons rise, and which is what they are doing now, they are pegging their bonuses to the GDP and to the top echelon salaries. Then they will take care only of those people and not the bottom half, right? As for the coalition or potential coalition, we have initiated that and we are working hard behind the scene. There are certain things that needs to be ironed out, and also, of course, Mr. Tan Cheng Bok has to work his things out on his side as well. So there are much to be done before we move to the next step, and we will definitely announce to everybody when we are ready to do so. So, sometimes we have, it's kind of like the curtain closed for a while, and then we have to do the thing in the backstage, and then, yeah, hopefully the curtain will open itself up again very soon. All right. Another question, please. Oh, right there. Okay.
Hi, I want to direct this to Mr. Alfred. I want to seek your opinion on the HDB 99-year lease. I am Kuswadi, by the way. On the 99-year lease, and also in view of the home improvement program and BERS, I was wondering who is going to finance this upgrading program. If I'm staying in Toa Payoh, the house we bought another 52 years ago, and at this age, and if there's another upgrading program that is coming up at the age of, when the flat reach 60 and 70 years, I was wondering at what capacity of the resident at an aged age can finance this upgrading program, unless the government can come up with a very heavily subsidized program. Then we are not in trouble. Otherwise, it simply doesn't work. I want to seek your opinion, and maybe you can elaborate further.
Thanks, Kuswadi. Appreciate your comments. I think that's true. How are we going to get this finance? Not much details has been given out. I thought it was more a knee-jerk reaction to quickly tell something to the population. But up to now, no details. How to finance this is a big issue. Of course, the easiest way is to let the lease run to zero and everybody figure out how you take care of your own retirement needs. But I hope for that mistake that was made and having our flats go up with that kind of price, some kind of arrangement can be worked out so that nobody feels too far, left out too far. Right now, there's no details. Whether these are all smoke screens to delay for time, I kind of explained it early on. Whether you want to surge the thing or verse the thing, we are not quite sure. As what Brian actually mentioned, previous SIRS end up having empty land sitting there for a while before it's being sold for private condos. And whether does it actually achieve national housing objectives is quite questionable.
So I just want to add on that this plan that the government has on HIPS and also VERS, it's simply a program where we have no details whatsoever, and it doesn't know that a resident at the age of 60 plus, 50 plus, living at Toa Payoh, Whampoa and all that, how are they going to, even if they implement these programs, it won't work. Who's going to pay for that? So I seek your opinion, especially from SDP's point of view, to take note of this, that the government plan doesn't work. Thank you, Alfred.
Thanks for the comment. And it's especially worrying. As I mentioned earlier, you do a HIP 2, 10 years later, you're going to tear it down. Are we trying to show activity within the GDP numbers? There's some construction activity, and 10 years later you tear it down and add some more numbers to your GDP. activity for the sake of activity. I think it's not achieving anything. I'm worried.
Does any members of the panels want to add to what is already been said? Well, feel free to add on. At this point, it is true that there's no details at all, so there's not much we can comment on. But allow me to speculate a little bit from past experience. Whenever the HDB tells us that, oh, you have to pay such and such an amount, it is, and you should be very grateful for that because it's heavily subsidized, well, you know that you are pretty much paying for the whole lot. The idea of subsidies, as we know it now, is that, well, if they pay $1 to renovate something or to build something, and then they think in their head that this will have a market rate of $10, right? They thought they can sell it for $10, and then they make you pay $3 for it. That's heavily subsidized because they subsidize you $7, even though they are making $2 out of you. Yeah, something like that, and you can expect that something like that is going to happen. Just a speculation. I really don't know. All right. And he's the expert here, not me. Yes, question from that gentleman, please.
Thank you. My name is Freddie. I think I won't go into the macro thing because everyone probably will have what they think. All that you all have spoken is not new. I mean, all this surface only post LKY. I think the important thing for me in opposition and the question of changing our life is how are you so sure that when you get into parliament, even the four of you, you're able to change the policy? You won't, because you don't have the majority. So whatever we argue, or whatever we debate, whatever we even put up points which are very factual, it's not going to help. And this is where I worry. And then the netizens will say, oh, 70% keep voting present government. But history repeats itself election after election. So something is wrong. We don't get it right. And we still don't get it. But there are so many issues that affect our everyday life. I look around. Most of us are senior citizens, man. We are centurions. Right? I don't think anyone here is below 50 years old. Or maybe one. So, and even if you add all of us to vote for you guys, we are not even the minority. A drop in the ocean. So I'm really concerned. So maybe oppositions should really get together and really think hard. Because whatever good points you all have, you go to parliament, they'll screw you. You won't even get to time to even raise your so-called issues or agenda. Look at Silver Lim, she wants to raise an issue. It takes her what? A few parliamentary so-called meeting before she even can raise it. So I mean, let's think hard. I mean, we can talk about how HDB and all these verse or purse or whatever they call it. To me, I mean, they make so many layers of complications to me. I just take an example, a very simple example of HDB. I hear so much version. If HDB were just to say, okay, at any time, I will buy back your HDB at market price, problem solved. At a certain age, if you are above 65, you can do that, problem solved. Why give so many layers of things? Okay? COE, you think it's difficult to bring it down? No. I wrote to Lee Hsien Loong. I said very simple. When the car comes to 10 years old, it's my car. Why should I pay another COE? Just put a nominal fee. $1,000, that's it. I bet you all the senior citizens who own cars above 10 years will just pay the 1,000. Exactly. You see? So I think we all as mature citizens and successful, I'm sure many of us here are successful in their own ways. I mean, we don't have to be PhD guys. We just need common sense. And all of us would probably have the answer, one way or the other, how to solve simple problem. I go to a hospital, or you go to a hospital, to any government hospital, I would say, or ask the question, why ward C and B1 or lower ward cannot have aircon when it's common aircon is for everyone? You go to the corridor, you get aircon. Isn't that a joke? You walk in the corridor of any government hospital, you get aircon, no?
Yeah, I totally agree. Do you have a question for the panel?
Yeah, that's my question. I said, is there, I mean, do you have a strategy to say that you can take out 2/3 position or a ministerial position or a bargaining position to change policy? That's it. Thank you.
I hear the same thing year after year, election after election. Recently, I heard from several friends who say pretty much the same thing you said, except that they were Malaysian. Yeah. Well, it works for them. It came after 20 years of, working this thing out. I don't know how long it's going to take us. But if you don't start, you never reach there. The Chinese have an axiom that says that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. And we are doing the first step now. That's why the gentleman was asking us about the putting a coalition together and things like that. Well, we've tried so many other things in the past. And then this example came up from up north, and we thought, gee, why don't we try that too? And we should not stop trying. Well, it does looks bleak, and I understand where you're coming from. I felt the same frustration after every GE. But if we stop trying, then we'll never go anywhere. So we have to keep at it. One day, the wall will come down. Yes, that gentleman over there.
Okay, basically, I hear many things about saying about 70%, 30%, etc., whatever. Oh, sorry, I'm Jeremiah Lim. Okay, so the thing is that, like, whatever it is, that you'll be a walkover because there's nobody there. So I felt whether good or bad or whatever, is just some presentable, more people that, to be in anywhere, whoever that is, other than PAP. So that there is a choice, rather than walk over. Right? So whether how good, how bad, how whatever the policy, that will be later in some way. But basically it's just to have more people, look good, whatever, general, maybe a few pips here and there, etc., whatever that you have, the merits and things like that. So it's just about having more people looking good, whatever it is, in some organization or some just somebody that is doing something that is already people recognize who they are. They have been doing some good or something or whatever, lawyer, businessman, everybody, whatever. But just whoever they represent, whether whatever. But then there is more so that they can have, a choice in every constituency.
Right. Well, thank you for the suggestion. I think that was exactly what we did in 2015. Every constituency was contested, and that's what you're implying. But of course, it still didn't work out. But like I said earlier on, we have to keep trying until it works one day. That gentleman over there, this one.
My name is Larry Kwa. I don't belong to any political organization, but I'm a very active guy on Facebook and alternate media. Okay, and I don't have a question to be addressed to the panel, in fact. I have a question to be addressed to the opposition as a whole. And Ang Yong Guan is also a friend of mine. All right, and I've also discussed with him to say that, from my observation and the observation of many of us who are active on Facebook and so on, anti-IB, of course, is that the opposition is very fractured. And because you are fractured, to borrow a term from the SAF, you don't have firepower. Okay, and you fall into the trap sometimes of, having 2 or 3 candidates splitting the vote to the advantage of the PAP. That's the first point. And Yong Guan also agrees with me that perhaps for Singapore politics to advance to another level, there should be some kind of a coalition. And in that respect, I'm very happy that, I see that there's something going on. Of course, I lament that WP doesn't want to be in it. I mean, they have their own reasons. Okay, so that's one point. You need to have some kind of a coalition, some kind of a thing. And of course, if you have somebody so charismatic like Anwar, wow, that would be excellent. Huh? Then the second point is what my friend Freddie brought up. His thinking, is that what can you do actually? But if Singaporeans as a whole, they always seem to think that the opposition is a bunch of idiots. Sorry, Lee Kuan Yew has done a very good job. All right, abetted by a very compliant and obedient press to keep painting. Okay, and I'm sure Dr. Chi knows that. He has been given that label, and that label has stuck with him for a very long time. And because of this, many Singaporeans think that, why vote the opposition? Don't rock the boat. Let the PAP carry on. What can the opposition do? They can't. And to me, I think that is a very fatalistic thinking. I get people commenting like that on Facebook, and I tell them, if you continue to have this kind of thoughts, you will never have opposition coming into Parliament. I don't expect that in the next election we can get rid of the PAP. But my hope is that opposition will be able to come in and take away that 2/3 majority so that you can have a better say in Parliament. Okay? Thanks.
Another question, the gentleman over there.
Hello, my name is Mike. I'm from UT Marsiling. And actually, I hope that one day SDP will come in and kick the PAP ass out of the stupid constituency. I really hate them, really. But the point I'm going to bring up is the last election, the 70% PAP won was, to me, was actually sympathy vote because Lee Kuan Yew just passed away 1 year ago. And that's why all the opposition lost badly. To me, I think this is the point why you have lost. But at the moment, I find that the beginning has just started. I'm very optimistic for the opposition parties because right now, PAP are making a lot of mistakes, creating a lot of hardship for the people. So this is a time where opposition should do their very best, walk around the town as much as possible. And for me, in UT Marsiling, I find it very strange that even the opposition and PAP parties, they don't walk around the town, they only walk around Marsiling. Why not, why not at Woodland Avenue 6, Drive 50, none. I never seen them walking around. Only at Marsiling, they only talk to those low wages people, It's of no use because it's only a portion of it. The other portion that, like me, we do not know what is going on between the opposition party, how hard they do it, or even what I know for PAP parties which govern my town. The only thing they do is like for my son who received bursary, waited for the idiot for 1 hour, and when he came and just shake my hand and just move off, and that's it. Asked me to get lost. it's really disappointed, you know. So I hope that one fine day, you know, opposition party, as Singaporean like us, we should vote them more into the parliament. It's not like what this gentleman say, you know, the next election, we cannot totally kick PAP out. I'm very sure, you know. But we must do our best to vote more opposition party in the parliament. At least the PAP will be controlled, you know. Not right now they can do freely whatever they say, you know. Even WP in there, they can do nothing. You know, looks like Silver Lim, you know, they can't do anything at all.
That's true. Thank you very much. I totally agree with what you're saying, and I also want to thank you for that little bit of optimism you have here. And certainly, we are looking forward to the day when we can kick their something out. All right. But why is it that we are only walking around in the Marsiling area and not the other places? Brian will address that.
So, sorry, again, your name? Mike, hi, nice to meet you. You stay in Woodlands? Okay. So, anyway, because before I became treasurer of the party, I was the head of the ground operation. So, I can explain a bit on the walkabouts and house visit. Actually, we do visit the UT and Marsiling site. Just that we just for information, it takes us like more than half a year to cover 80% of Woodlands, and we haven't even covered UT. You know that was before they start to draw boundaries and all that. Yeah. So, in fact, I was asking my colleague Gerald, was saying whether we can have your name and all that. Maybe this time we can catch up and you can help us volunteer and that, because we really need the hands and legs. And I appeal to everyone here. You know, if you can, you think that this country is going in the wrong direction, please join us. We really need the hands and legs. And you can ask my guys behind my ground operations side. It's a thankless job, but we have to do it. We have to connect with the people. So if you don't mind me later on, maybe Gerald could take your contact. Right? Thank you.
Allow me to add on a little bit here. Just to give you an idea, we usually, even right now as I'm speaking, our frequency of visiting door to door, house to house, is about once every fortnight, once 2 weeks. And we have teams going out. We usually divide them into 2 person per team, or sometimes 3, depending. Each evening, you can visit 1 block, pretty much, because sometimes you talk to people and they get enthusiastic and then they engage you, you know, and time flies so fast. And like Brian says, in 1 year, how many blocks can we cover?
We will cover 80% Woodlands in 6 months.
80% in Woodlands. But you cover 80% does not mean that you saw 80% of the people, because half the time people are not in. And then half of the other people who are in, they are foreigners. Right, so, you know, you cover very little. And that is why I'm hoping that some of you here would volunteer for us. Please go to this place and put in your name, all right? And I have a few pieces behind there, pasted up on the wall. Just go fill it up, all right? Thank you very much. There's another question. I saw a hand just now somewhere. Yes, this gentleman over there. Oh, okay. After you, then it will be you. All right. Oh, all right. You have the mic. Let him ask the question first.
I don't have a question. Actually, I want to take on what was said just now. Okay, my name is Clyman. I was a senior army officer for 30 years. Now, Tan Cheng Bock said he will only lead when the people he leads think Singapore first. Okay, that means it is for the Singapore, not for individuals. Now, we all know that there's no way we can do a sudden change in the mentality of Singaporeans, because Singaporeans are very chaos. They always think, not possible, change is too much. So we have to go one step at a time. And the one step is that we have a win-win situation. We have the cake and eat it. That means Singaporeans will still have the PAP on nomination day. 45 seats, 50 seats, even 55 seats out of the 90, you know, leaving maybe 35 to 40 seats for the opposition to share. This is where Cheng Bob said, is it? Think for yourself. You want personal glory? Everybody wants to be in parliament, or you want the opportunity for Singapore to be changed. So therefore, all the political parties, you have to leave aside your personal aspirations, personal agenda. Behind the scenes, not over social media, you must go and do your sharing, you know, and get the very best among the crop of you so that no one can say you are mediocre. If we, in the next in the next GE, can bring in 40 seats in parliament, believe you me, the PAP cannot do as they like anymore. Because there will be enough voices in parliament, and now you all have opportunities to run your GRCs, because now again, unlike today, the whole government machinery jumps on Workers' Party. I mean, we all say Workers' Party, quiet, this, that, and all that. You all must understand, hello, it's not so easy, you know. The whole government machinery, at the flick of a finger, can find fault with you. But if you have, opposition have 6 GRCs, now they have to start thinking, can he do that? It's like, you know, when I remember when we were on Hong Lim Park and we filled the park, the government started thinking about it. But when you have only 200 protesters down there, hello, those are sub-sub. So this is where we all have to put aside our personal aspirations and then think Singapore. I'm sure the leaders of the various political parties, some of you have got to make sacrifices. See, this is where we all must learn from Pakatan Harapan. Just imagine, DAP is very powerful, you know, if you think about it. And yet, they allow not their logo to be used for the election, but of Kedilan. I mean, Kit Chiang has a lot of support, but now he's in the background. He may be a kingmaker for all that you know. And Mahathir have to listen to you on the quiet. But that is the way it should be done. That means we must not allow the government of the day to determine the agenda. The opposition must determine the agenda on the quiet, not in social media. And then let it go, because we know there are lots of moles around and IBs. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The gentleman over there.
Good afternoon, I'm Niran. I'm around 28. I've just joined the workforce for like the past 2 years. I travel all the way to Tuas. So when the MRT breaks down, I feel it, a lot of pain. And speaking of the media landscape, we know it's heavily skewed towards the PAP favor. What can the SDP do online to capture our crowd, my generation, the working generation crowd? Because I know there are online rules and what you can say, what you cannot say. So your election victory will hinge on capturing the next generation as well as the senior generation. Like, for example, you can say, you know, just looking at my insurance premium, like, on the MediShield, right now the minimum sum is 52,000. By the time I reach 65, I can estimate the minimum sum reach 80-90,000. And towards the later end of your life, you're 90 plus and all, you're forking out 7,000 a year on premiums. Tell me which grandpa, grand-uncle can fork out $7,000 at that age. I mean, that's like stupid to put that insurance premium over there, but you have signed up for it and you have to willingly prepare for the situation when you have to fork out 7,000 when you're 90 plus. You know, that's just MediSave alone. You're not even talking about, other expenses on it. Yeah, you also have the HDB issue. And what a lot of Singaporeans, my generation, are doing, they're looking overseas. If they can leave the country, they leave. A lot of Singaporeans my age go overseas, Australia, settle down, where they can afford a house, a car, and a lifestyle they choose. It's a brain drain, you know. You invest so much in education, in our citizens. Sure, you bring in foreigners to make up for that shortfall because of the silver tsunami that is coming and is happening right now. Your GDP is not going to grow, it's going to stagnate and go down because a lot of people are retiring, leave the workforce. To make up for it economically, you have to bring in the foreigners to work for Singapore, pay tax and whatnot. And here we have ministers who are like $1 million, they raise GST GST 10%, their salary also increased 10%. Where the hell is our pay increase?
Do you have a specific questions for the panel?
Yeah, so how are you going to capture our audience? The one who are sandwiched, our generation who's getting screwed by your generation in power.
Anyone in the panel like to address that question?
Yeah, I think that is the voice of the young. Right? That is reflecting the reality that is out there. In SDP, we know, we are very aware that we need to reach out to the young, to those of the age group, and we are using the social media actively to reach out. We do put out videos to create awareness, to pass messages, and so on and so forth. We do have a team that is looking into that, but like what I echo what the rest are saying, we really need volunteers to come forward. Look, we are facing an election, and I'm new to politics. I only joined SDP at the last election, and when I joined, Brian and the guys going to the ground, it is no joke. For 9 days, you can't do much. You are so tied up with rallies at night. In the morning, Dr. Chi will tell you, you have to be out at the MRT station in the morning, and and it goes on. And what you need some time in between to do your rally speeches, and that is all we are allowed to do. 9 days of campaigning, but we know that it is not that 9 days that will determine victory. The work is ongoing. Our friend from UT, right? Very true. When we go down to UT, we were slammed by the residents because they say, "I only see you this election. I never see you before." So I have to tell them, we are very sorry, but the government just redraw the boundary, and we end up in UT. So those are the kind of challenges that on the ground you face in doing this work. Yes, we do have I won't call it a machinery, but volunteers who actively try to put out messages and reach out. We are in the midst of recruitment, trying to get as much volunteers as possible, and we want the young, our seniors with all the experience to come forward. And we are in the works of getting the opposition together. And I think I can say that the momentum to work together as a one unit is there, and we hope it happens. And when that happens, I think we will make some strides forward.
So anyway, just to add to Daman's point, you probably are more media savvy, IT savvy than me. When you like our page and when you forward our videos to your friends and all that, the message gets spread. I see many seniors here, I think they are even more IT savvy than me. They know how to, share videos and all that. So we also know that the younger generation, even in the rally crowd, we can see not many come. It's usually the more senior folks who come, and they actually watch it from the convenience of their home, watch the rally live. Right, that's how good technology is. So, but it's a matter of you helping us spread our message. As you said, as you rightly pointed out, the mass media belongs to them. But fortunately, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter. We have to latch on these mediums. And if you look at other countries, many of the wars were won because they won the social media war. So we really depend on you, and of course not just sharing on that, coming forward to volunteer. We need people admin, people walk the ground with us, IT experts, people who can help us with coordinate the shooting of videos, even our IB brigade. We can have our own IB brigade, and mind you, my friend, all of us are doing this voluntarily. We are not paid. Yeah, all of us are not paid at all. All my colleagues behind, they are all not paid. Right? But we do it because we have passion and we believe, we can take this country to a better position than it is now.
Niram, right? Thanks for your comments. I would say, I love your passion. What I would say is, don't give up on Singapore. Claim back Singapore. Singapore belongs to us, to you, to your generation. Don't give up. Tell your guys, don't quit on Singapore, and claim it back. We have avenues. SDP is one platform that you could use. Spread the word to your cohort. Yeah.
Thank you. One more. We have time for just one more. That gentleman over here.
Yeah, my name is Charles. I don't have a question. Because of I feel a bit bad that I'm the person holding up this mic and preventing someone with a good question from answering. I'm willing to hand over the mic at all time. Other than that, I just want to say a few things. Is that it's just some observation which you all already know, that a lot of people admire the sacrifice that all the opposition members up to now have already been making. I think there's no question about it. But despite that, after so many years of disappointment, a lot of people also know that the playing field is completely unlevel, and there are many examples. PA has got a budget of close to $1 billion, and it's very clear that they use it to promote the PAP agenda. If you wear an opposition t-shirt, you can't even use a toilet. I think that actually happened. Right? It's absurd, but it has happened. So I would have to say that when people, you all get discouraged, it is not your fault. It's the fault of Singaporeans who don't vote you in, who continually, for whatever reasons they have, still vote the PAP. And I think there are a lot of the things that have been said up to now have been said are regurgitations of many things years ago. Ministerial salaries from 1990, when it was first proposed, the whole principle was absurd. To take the top salaries of 6 people in the private sector, and then these 6 people can change. So everybody knew that it's absurd, but nobody raised anything. And then today they're raising it. The reason? Because things are getting tougher and people are suffering more. And it's very clear. You look at the top bottom 20, bottom 40, and now probably even the bottom 60%. They're consuming more than what they earn. So I think at the end of the day, people must suffer before they realize a lot of things. What I thought I also want to add is that the internet program that you all have, I think is very good. A lot of people have said so. They all, I don't know whether you all track it, but there are a lot of people who pass it on and so forth, and you all make very good points. You know? And also about the younger people, they usually, I think from what I observe, even with my kids, they are very apolitical, they become important. But only now, because I think because of the struggle that they are experiencing, they are beginning to ask why. Why is my life so bleak and so on and so forth. And just a short question thing about Australia. Not only they pay high taxes, there are only 3 scales, and I think they start 39, 40, so 39, 45, and 46 or something like that. And they have got cumulative budget deficit since, I don't know, since the time that Australia was born. Current cumulative budget, the cumulative federal deficit is something like close to 375 to probably 400 billion Aussie dollars. So whoever goes there will have to participate in plugging the hole, you know. So that's what I tell people, and you may think it's a good short-term thing, but in the end you'll be asked to contribute to plugging the hole. It's a huge one.
Thank you for your comments. Thanks so much. Today you seem to have more comments than questions, and I actually appreciate that, and I thank you so much, because it tells me something. It tells me that you know, what we're saying here is not a mystery to all of you. You don't have a lot of questions because all of you can see through the smoke screen of the PAP. But you come here and you have a lot of comments. You want to take it off your shoulder, take it off your chest, because we are all so frustrated with the way things are going on. And you know, and we heard some pessimistic comments, some positive comments as well. But like I said, if we don't keep trying, keep chipping at the block, it's not going to crack. So if we keep at it, one day it will crack, just like it did up north. So we do need a lot of help. Please help us sign up. And not to forget also the box there. You know, we can't run with you know, empty coffer. So please help support us, and so that we can you know, bring to fruition our goals and the purpose why we're here, to hopefully see a tsunami like what we saw in Malaysia. All right. Well, before I close this forum, I just want our SecGen. No? Okay, he doesn't want to make a closing remark. All right, so that's it. Thank you all for coming very much.